What happens when you take a championship career in college coaching and leave that behind to open up your own glove company? You end up on a podcast with me. We are here with Kevin Schneider this week on the Jersey Baseball Show. Welcome, Kev, and got some stories to tell here, and we got a podcast to preview for next week.
Thanks, Olsh. Good to have you, man. I love the intro. Exciting stuff going on with you, and appreciate you having me on, man.
Absolutely, all ACBL champs are allowed on this show. It's all
Exactly.
close. But let's fill all our watchers, all our viewers, all our people listening on the RSS feed. Kind of get them up to date with your career if they haven't seen, if they've been hiding, if they haven't been watching intentional talk on MLB or paying attention to the All-Star game or anything. Kev, you had a certainly an up and coming college coaching career. I was getting my bags packed to be your director of ops at some big time D1 school, and this year, life throws a curveball, and you change directions, and now head of the Emery Glove Company. Tell us about how we go from building champions to building custom gloves, and just kind of get us up to date here.
Yeah, man. Coaching has always been such a big part of my life and my career. I've done it for the last 15 years at kind of the cool part was every level, whether it was travel baseball, high school baseball, and then college baseball. So it's a little weird for me not doing it. I don't think I'll ever not coach, right? I don't think I'll ever not coach. I just enjoy it. I enjoy the relationship aspect of it. I will always train and coach in some way, shape, or form. I think for the rest of my life. But the timing of it, of taking this new company and this idea that I've been working on for a while and kind of been plotting with was just felt right. Baseball gloves, the glove company, the glove industry has been such a huge passion of mine my entire life. I think it's a pitcher's thing, right? Like I remember like back in 2001, like 20 years ago when I was in high school, I was the guy, like I ordered a red glove from Japan with my name embroidered on it. And like, you couldn't do that stuff back then, like
Right.
you couldn't go online. You couldn't call somebody. I don't even know how I did it still.
And you better be able to back it up if you do too.
I'll tell you what, it looked pretty good on the cover of the Trentonian after dominating some big games. I can probably dig up some of those pics still. But Lawrence High School, red and black.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I probably got some heat for rolling out to on the mound with that. But thankfully I, had some pretty good stuff then. But so it's just a huge passion of mine, man. And the first thing I wanted to do before rolling the company out, I'm trying not to ramble on too much, was just really get to know the ins and outs of gloves, right? What makes them good, what makes different leathers, what makes the insides of gloves feel certain ways and patterns and pocket depth and things like that, comfort. And once I feel like I got and that was just a ton of R&D, research and development and testing and getting gloves, and this one feels like crap, this one feels great, this leather feels stiff, this leather feels floppy, whatever it is. And I kind of did that secretly over a couple of years. And then once I felt comfortable with the product and felt like I could roll it out there with anybody in the world, was when we launched. It was only about 5 months ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a really fast, fun ride, really quick. I'm always gonna keep an open mindset and know there's plenty to learn in the innovation of the glove world and whatnot. But I think we have a really cool thing and vibe going, from the branding to who we have involved to the number of pro guys we have involved already, and then obviously some of the projects we've done already that have gotten some national and even, sounds weird, but global exposure.
Yeah. It's talk to us about, obviously the thing that's most known, besides what's on the website is the glove, that the Vlad Guerrero All-Star game glove project that you could spend thousands of dollars on advertising, and you'd never really get a better moment than that. It's just not possible. So certainly there's, some tie-ins in your background that, and family background that obviously led to it that might not be able to be duplicated by anybody. But, success stories always involve, there's an opportunity in your position and your poise and you take advantage of it. Tell us about what went into, first of all, your connection with Vlad Jr. And we'll get a picture of the glove up for everybody. What went into this glove, this story, and some of the really kind of cool things that came from it.
Yeah, man, it still feels so surreal, that whole project. So the backstory, obviously my brother, John, he's the major league coach. He's been with the Blue Jays for going on 20 years as a player and a coach. The cool thing with John and Vladdy is John's pretty much been the only coach he's had, or the primary coach he's had since he was 16, and he signed coming out of the DR.
That's right.
So they have an extremely, extremely close relationship. John threw to him in the 2019 Home Run Derby, where he just put on the most epic show of all time as a 20-year-old kid. So I've met him when he was in the minor leagues. I met him in New Hampshire when John was managing there, and so it's been cool. I definitely have the connection through my brother, but like you said, I always say my brother's the second best coach in the family, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give him credit for this or anything like that. But we've had opportunities to hang out. We've had opportunities to meet a number of times, which is awesome. He's one of the best players in the world. So when the All-Star game was coming up, I just kind of had this idea of like, okay, what can we do that's like really cool for Vladdy? He was having a huge year.
Mm-hmm.
Come out party for him. Obviously huge expectations, and he was, at such a young age with a Hall of Fame father. But in the back of my mind, I always knew, there was this iconic picture of him and Vladdy Sr. And it's one of the most iconic pictures of all time, where his Hall of Fame father is tipping his cap, and him as a 3-year-old is tipping his cap. And fast forward, the years, and here he is in the major leagues as one of the best players in the world. So I said, how can we get that picture on a glove? And the first thing, sorry if my lighting's changing, I'm outside. The first thought was, let's paint the picture on, right? Similar to the Chase Petty Zeus glove that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be pretty complicated to paint on leather is really hard. And I don't paint. We have a head artist in the company that does it. I do mess around a little, but I would never. He's a professional. So it was like, okay, even a good portrait on canvas of that picture would be really, really hard.
Right.
How can we do that on a glove? It's going to be almost impossible. So then I started researching how you print on leather. Did some terrible tests and had to reach to all ends of the world to get this kind of technology to be able to do it. And then we had to work on the sizing of, okay, like what would work on a glove. Now, thankfully, it was a first baseman's mitt, so it kind of had a good blank canvas,
yeah.
Kind of the back of the glove. So did some tests, and then finally got to a certain machine where the picture came out like it did. And we were like, oh my goodness, this is going to be awesome. So, and you know what? At first we wanted to do other things, put other things on the glove, and we're just like, yeah, this is the best picture ever. It's so iconic. Let's just, have it be Blue Jay colored with the web and stuff like that in the palm. Mm-hmm. And let's just let the picture speak for itself. We put the Dominican flag on there for him. And obviously Vladdy Jr. and stuff like that. And the rest is history, man. That day I was out, actually. I wasn't even watching a lot of the pregame stuff. And I just kept getting texts and call and be like, yo, Major League Baseball just posted, we were at a game.
Yes.
We had a game that day.
Yep. It was a Tuesday. Of course we did.
Yeah. We had a game every day.
Yeah.
And I was walking out and my phone was just blowing up. And I was like, holy cow, like Starting Nine just posts this. The Blue Jays just posted the glove. Then it was something like, yo, Major League Baseball just posted your glove and tagged you in it. And I was like, holy cow. And then it just went MLB.com and Sports Illustrated. It was just, I still don't even know everything that it went on. So it was beyond cool. It was really humbling. It's cool to see Vladdy using it, you know, in pregame at stadiums and stuff like that still to this day. So yeah, went pretty viral. Obviously, when you have Major League Baseball and those companies post your product, certainly good for advertising for sure.
Got another moment with Kevin Millar a couple of weeks later, right? I mean, how did that one come about?
Yeah, that one came about honestly. So the Vladdy glove got on. It was on Intentional Talk. They featured it there. They featured it on a couple of the pregame All-Star games with Harold Reynolds and those guys. So Millar and those guys saw the glove through there, and we just kind of connected. And he's such a cool guy, man. He's one of those. You know, he's a superstar, former big leaguer, but he's just so cool, you know. And so he was just like, he loved the glove and was like, I would love to have a custom and all this stuff. So we had some ideas for him, and we didn't want to tell him everything, you know, like we didn't want to tell. I don't want to tell him everything, or like have him design it. Like that's half the cool. That's like the coolest part about these gloves is like, hey, let me design it, then you just like show it to them, and they're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So he calls himself the Real 1-5, which I love because he's the man. So we got the Real 1-5 on there. Cowboy Up was obviously his iconic saying in 2004 when they won the World Series, when they were down 3-0 against the Yanks. And then, you know, world champ, 04 world champ, he calls himself all the time. And he's just such an America guy. So we thought the stars, red and navy with the Boston logo and stuff like that would be really cool. So he got it after kind of saying, hey, you know, can I get a glove type thing? Oh, we put him on the palm. And we sent that to him, and they told us, hey, it was probably going to be on the show. And we're like, all right, cool. Like, that'll be awesome if like we're on like a little segment. And then they opened the show with it. He's got it in his hand, like go like this. And, you know, he talks about it. And so they end up talking about it for a few minutes, which was just so cool. Mixed in John with it as well, because John got thrown out of the Blue Jays game for arguing a Vladdy call the night before. So I guess it was a cool little way to open the show with the glove and him. But yeah, that exposure is so cool. And I think the coolest thing with that is like, yeah, it's about relationships. And obviously like I had the relationships with Vladdy through my brother, but like I didn't know Kevin Millar. You know, it was just an authentic thing where like he's just such a cool dude. Where like that's kind of what he does. Like if he thought it was cool, so like we connected and like sent him a glove, and he thought it was cool and had it on the show. So when partnerships, when relationships are like organic and like these players like the product, these people like the product, I think that's the best way to go. You know, like we're not paying people to wear our gloves. You know, we're not, you know, paying Kevin Millar. Kevin Millar doesn't need the money. Any couple $100 from me to get him to you know like the glove or say he likes it. So it's just an organic, cool thing, and obviously something that I am and we're so thankful for. We've been able to do and plan on having a lot more stuff like that. I mean, like I said, we're just getting started.
Sure. Now, and already, you know, some, you know, Chase Petty, a couple of gloves for him, Anthony Salametto, a couple for him. So some of New Jersey's biggest stars. What's been your favorite reaction from somebody that we might not know like that, not a first or second round pick or former major leaguer? What's one of the really cool reactions you can think of?
And that's actually a really good question. And yeah, we've had, you know, Chase and Ant, you know, there's some of like I love being a part of like these young guys, you know, I kind of want to do like a next gen, like young gun core. Doing a couple really cool projects with Jaden Hill from LSU right now. I can't wait for everybody to see. But without those bigger name guys, to be honest with you, it's got to be like, it's almost just the everyday person. Like people are surprised when like they're fully custom, and people will like DM me on Instagram and bring up an idea or whatever it is, and they don't really know which direction they want to go, and we'll end up talking for like hours, which like I can't always do because I'm never gonna have a life ever, but I've done it a lot. And just kind of designing their dream glove and bouncing ideas off each other, and they're just so thankful, and like when they get it, it's just like holy cow, and they're so appreciative, like this is exactly what I dreamed of but better. So there's been so many instances like that, and those are like the coolest ones,
So
just the average player, whether they're a college or high school guy.
100%. And one of the things we're going to be doing on the Clean Leather podcast, this is promo 1 coming up starting next week, is have a segment, a glove reveal segment. What do we want? What's the thought there, and what do we want to show everybody when they, the point being that somebody who's ordered a glove, they get to see it for the first time, kind of live on our show.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of exactly what we were just talking about, right? Like these average, not average, but these normal players, these non-big leaguers or quote unquote famous guys, getting a glove, like gloves are pieces of art to me, man. Like they're so beautiful, and the process of putting them together and color schemes and the whole design process. So once you see it in person or you see like a real picture of it, that reaction is like it's priceless. So having this glove reveal, we'll have some big name guys, right? If it's a big leaguer or a big name prospect or whatever it is, but just showing these guys who order on a daily basis their final product, because every glove is it's a one of one. It's made from scratch. That's what the custom glove industry is. So each is their own process and their own story and their own reasoning for why they get the certain colors, the certain stitching, the certain web, the certain embroidery here and different things like that. So when they finally see it come together and have the reaction, it's just awesome.
Yeah. I'm a big food guy, which unfortunately, if you've known me, it's been to my detriment through the years. But I always like
you're skinny these days.
Well, we'll hope it stays that way. But always big on that the Food Network shows and the Restaurant Impossibles of the world, and their moment where they show the redone restaurant to these people, and it's always the best part of the show where they get to see it for the first time, and that's kind of where I'm hoping that this can go. And obviously everybody out there subscribe to youtube.com/Generals Baseball LLC, although we'll probably be rebranding that soon, and these videos will be up on the Emery Glove Co.com website. But this is something that we're really looking forward to getting out to everybody. This transition from coach to business owner. Anybody who's heard you give a speech after a game, maybe politely talking to an umpire after a bad call, knows that you're one of the more competitive people out there. How has this been able to, starting something from scratch, be able to kind of, keep that competitive streak where like I'm not, running back to the field because I got to be the best glove owner and I got to have the best company now. I mean, is that been the case?
Yeah, that's actually awesome. I don't know what you mean. I've never had an argument with an umpire ever.
No, these are conversations like this.
Yeah,
a lot of give and take.
Or a passionate speech with my team. But dude, it's similar. I feel like competition, motivation, that type of stuff. Like you can't fake it. Like you can't. I think in my everyday life, I'm kind of a laid back, fun-loving guy. I like to have fun and stuff like that. But just my whole life, competition has kind of what's motivated me. Whether it was playing high school basketball, high school baseball, college, coaching, I just don't think there's any point in doing it if you're not trying to be the best. And along that, not just be the best for the sake of being the best, but you can impact so many different people that way. Like, that's why I coach. Like, I love impacting lives in the relationship aspect of it. So now transition to business in the glove world, man, it's crazy. Like, there's so much competition in the glove world that I got to keep that competitive spirit going more than ever. There's already been people, everybody likes to come at you and talk about you and this and that, and you're the best, or these guys stink, or whatever it is. And that's good, because if they're not talking about you, then it probably means you're not doing something right. But so that drive and that motivation to stay on top, to keep growing, and by no means are we on top, but just to keep growing and impacting the market, right? Like I want to put a serious dent in this market where we have these Goliath companies that have been around for 50, 100 years, whatever it is. And then some of these bigger, these bigger companies that are multi-million dollar companies that have been around. I want to put a dent in them, and that's what we're going to do. And that's, I think, what we've already done a little bit. So, I just knew with the way I do things, with my relationships that I have, I had, it's funny because before I did this is what I'm going to say. Before I did this, I launched Emery. I reached out to like 5 or 6 companies, and I basically said, like, hey, here's who I am. I'm a head college baseball coach. I'm a baseball lifer. I was a good player, whatever. And I basically said I wanted to like collaborate, or like, what do you think about doing something together, blah, 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 to like established companies, right? Like some big, some really big, and some like smaller, but that I respected. And I kind of got like big leagued a little bit, right? I kind of got like big league a little bit, where they're like, yeah. And like responded, or like, and then it never really went anywhere. And then a couple that I talked to, and a couple that I have like a ton of respect for in the industry, were like, hey, it's really hard. It's a really tough industry, and which it is. But while I had the conversation with these people, I was just like, respectfully, like, I appreciate all the information, the insight, and the advice, but you don't know me. Like, I'm not doing this to just have a fun side project. I'm doing this to make a serious dent. Obviously, Conor McGregor, we're not here to take part. We're here to take over, man. I just want to start a whole different like vibe to the glove market and the baseball market. And that's one of the things I'm going to say is part of this was, of course, it's gloves first, but we live in a generation of baseball, which I love so much, that it's let the kids play, right? It's make baseball fun again. It's about bat flips and trash talking and everything like that. And the bottom line is, I thought a lot of the stuff and the brands and the style and the vibe were still just flat out corny. And I think that's what a lot of these big leaguers and college guys and all this stuff have seen and been like, yo, like, your style's different. It's not like Johnny taking me out to the ball game. It's more like it's more of like a new school, artistic kind of urban vibe that I want to go forward. When we do some collaboration stuff moving forward in the next 6 months, people are going to see that, some other athletes from other sports, some other industry people involved, things like that. So, yeah, I know I rambled on forever, but bottom line is, competitively, you can't take, no matter what I do in life, if I'm teaching kindergarten, coaching the big leagues, coaching high school, having a glove company, I just can't turn that switch off. It's impossible. I'm the guy where like my daughter, who's almost 2.5, like, as soon as she's old enough to like play sports, I'll like block her shot and like talk crap to her, and like not even come close.
It's not already happening.
Yeah, like not even like when she drops a ball, when I throw it to her, I'm like, let's go, come on, or like she goes to throw it back to me, and I'll like swat out her hand. I'm like, you gotta be better than that. Let's go. I just can't turn it off. So it'll never turn off. And I think it's a good thing for the business, like it was a little bit in my coaching and training career.
And now podcasting, because that's something again, promo number 2, Tuesdays, 12 o'clock starting next week, dropping at noon. And actually we'll test this out. This will drop. This is going to be the same thing. We'll get everybody on schedule. But I think you can probably take the amount of knowledge that you and I have combined on podcasting and put it in a large box, and you would still have the entire content of the large box left. So it's kind of figure it out as we go. But, you know, what do we want to do here? I mean, we got a name, Clean Leather Baseball Podcast, obviously representing, you know, kind of a no-brainer with Emery Gloves. But what are we trying to do each week, and what do we want to, get out to everybody to make sure they keep coming back?
Yeah, kind of just, and obviously, Olsh, man, I'm super excited. I think you and I are that dynamic duo that the country has wanted. You know,
yes,
we're the duo that no one knows they wanted. What's that saying? They didn't know they needed something like that. But
the ACBL knows now, but I think it's time for the rest of the world to know. I think we got to branch out of northern Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania.
We're the baseball duo and couple that the world didn't know that they wanted and deserved. But you know, when I stepped away from coaching and I did this business, I knew that I always wanted to be a part of baseball. And one of the things that I said was I wanted my platform, my forum, the small one that I have, to grow, just be able to talk about the game more. You know, I've loved the conversations that I've had so much because I don't have any more like skin in the game for talking to a kid about recruiting or whatever it is. Like, I'm not recruiting him to come to, you know, my college, my high school, my travel team, whatever it is. It's just about relationships and sharing the things that I've done and seen, and the successes and failures that I've had over the last 16 years throughout the game, things that it's taught me. So I think it's going to be a cool way to take on topics that people want to have answers about, and to have you and I share our experiences. You know, you're definitely the brains of the operation here. But, you know, I don't know, maybe I played a little more on the field stuff than you.
I won't even put on a uniform anymore.
Yeah. Neither do I really, but you know, so just answer things, talk about the game from just an authentic point of view. Maybe say some things that people want to say or are afraid to say. Like, that's one I want to tell people to know. Like, we're going to talk about, I was going to say a curse word there. I guess we can. But we're going to talk about stuff that people tiptoe around, man. And college coaches have to dance around. And when I was a head college coach, I had to dance around and play the politically correct answer and all that crap. I'm not doing that. You know, I don't have a boss anymore. Or somebody that maybe they don't like that I said. I don't care. If I think it's right, if I can help somebody, if I can, you know, some people might think I'm an idiot. Some people might think I'm a genius. I don't care. But you and I are going to be able just to authentically, organically talk about the game, whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's New Jersey high school, college baseball, whether it's about the glove industry, an individual player, whatever it is, an upcoming prospect. Just talk about it and I think help people along the way too. The bit when I say help, I mean the recruiting stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you've done some unbelievable stuff with some of the guys that we know, from helping their academics. You know, there's just so much bullshit out there, and I did curse. Sorry. There's just so much BS out there.
I don't have a censor button either, so we're in trouble.
There's so much BS out there of companies that you got to do this and you got to do that, you got to do this, and it's just like, no, you don't. Like, here's what you actually need to do. The first thing you need to do is be good at baseball, man. You know, or the first thing you need to do is be a good person. Not a ranking, not a this, not a just so much BS, and I just want to cut through it and
be the kind of guy that a coach wants on your team, because you know that your team is going to win.
Yeah, you know, and one thing that's it's always been cool with these coaches that I have a lot of good relationships with, and we'll have them on the podcast. Some of the best college coaches in the country, in my opinion, is they just know what I've said to them over the last years isn't going to be BS. Like if I have a player that was really good, but he was kind of soft, like I told him that, like, hey, if you can get him to toughen up a little bit, he's going to be a dude. Or, hey, this guy isn't as, flashy or whatever it is, but he's an absolute grinder who's going to help you win. And then they've gone and done that. So like just being honest, that's what's helped me with a lot of my relationships, whether it's, college coaches, scouts, front office guys, agents, whatever it might be. So that honesty and authenticity, I think, is that we're going to bring from the podcast is huge with everything that we're going to be doing.
Absolutely. So one last, we go 60 seconds here because we're going to hit some quick hitters starting next week too. We'll give you one. We'll see how honest and authentic and how smart you are in about 2 months. Labor Day, traditional pennant race time. Give me your World Series matchup right now based on what you know, and I'll give you 60 seconds.
It's so hard because I don't feel like there are any clear-cut favorites. Man, it's so hard. I mean, if I wanted to be politically correct, I would say the Blue Jays out of the American League. I think they're a couple of years away. They need a little more depth on the mound, whatever it might be.
They need to just be switched over to the NL East, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. That's NL East is a debacle. I love looking at their standings and seeing, what teams that are 4 games over 500 are in the lead that week or whatever it is. Just a debacle. I'm gonna say, I'm a pitching guy, and I think the White Sox, man, obviously they're having a good year. I just think their pitching and their bullpen is going to be good. Even got, Kopech, obviously Kimbrel and Hendricks on the back end. Kopech's gotten hit around a little bit recently, but he's still such a stud. Obviously Giolito, Cease, who's their other big starter I'm forgetting?
Rodon.
Oh, Carlos Rodon. I mean, geez. Yeah. You get in the playoffs, man. That's tough, bro. Every one of those guys, 95 to 102, and so I'm gonna say White Sox. I'm gonna say White Sox, Brewers. I
love it. Bob Uecker calling a World Series.
Yeah, I'm gonna say White Sox, Brewers. Just because, again, I like the pitching of the Brewers. I like the some of the years that the Adamises are having and stuff like that, and they're just a high energy group. And I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the Giants. The Dodgers are obviously super talented, but I don't know. I just don't feel like it's going to be their time again.
Something's missing this year with them.
What's that? Yeah. And I'm not sold on the Giants, who I love so many of their guys. Like I love Brandon Belt. He's such like an old school savage. Love some of their arms. I'm not sold on, man. I'm not sold on Gabe Kapler. I don't care. Hopefully Gabe's listening right now. I'm just not sold on Gabe Kapler. He can take a nature walk about it if you want. So I'm just not sold on him. He's got me in the abs department, but don't care.
Yeah, that's all right. So we got to work on your sense of timing. If that was 60 seconds, a little bit.
Was it?
No. we got deadlines to meet next week. Well, that's it for this week. Stay tuned. You'll catch us next week on the very first episode of Clean Leather Baseball Podcast. You'll get some. We'll get it out there. Some special guests. A lot of surprises. Great show coming up. YouTube.com/Generals Baseballs LLC. As well as EmeryGloveCo.com. Get on both of those as much as possible. We will talk to you next week. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, Olshin. You're the man, dude.